Okay, we're back to the coalitions, and it's that same example with the Republicans and the Democrats and the Independents. And once you have decided the winning coalitions, what you do is you look at each person that's in the coalition or each voter or each voting group. And each voter or group is called a critical voter if it is the case that if they left the coalition, then the coalition would no longer be winning. So when I'm looking at this first one here with the Republicans and the Democrats, that's 17. Keep in mind, remember they needed 11 votes, right? But Republicans by themselves is only 9. And Democrats by themselves is only 8. So if the Republicans left this group, there'd only be 8 votes, and they're no longer winning. And if the Democrats left that coalition, there'd only be 9 votes, and they're no longer winning. So both the Republicans and the Democrats are considered critical voters, because if either one of them left, they'd no longer be winning. The same thing happens with the next group, the Republicans and the Independents. That adds up to 12. They have to stay together in order to win. If one of them says, I ain't voting with you anymore, they're no longer a winner. So now Republicans and Independents there, are critical. And then the same thing happens with the Democrats and the Independents. That adds up to exactly 11. And once again, they have to vote together, because if they split up, they're no longer a winner. Now, when you get down to the last one, which is all 3 of them together, that adds up to 20. If the Republicans were to walk away from the Democrats and the Independents, it's okay, because the Democrats and the Independents together will win. Okay? If the Democrats walk away from the Republicans and the Independents, that's okay, because right here, R and I together is still a winner. And if, sorry, I accidentally knocked out the color. If the Independents left, that's okay, because Republicans and Democrats right here together, just them together, that's a winner also. So any one of them can leave, and it's still going to be a winning coalition. So therefore, none of them are critical to that group. And remember, it says a winning coalition is called critical if it is the case that if he or she were to leave the coalition, then the coalition would no longer be winning. You're only looking at them one at a time. So Republicans can leave, still winning. Democrats can leave, still winning. Independents can leave, still winning. So none of them are critical in the last coalition. But in your doubles here, they're all critical. Now, what do we use that for? Well, I'm going to tell you. There's this thing called the Bonds-Off Power Index, and you look at it for every single voter. And so in that last situation, our voters were Republican, Democrats, and Independent. They were blocks of voters. And if you go back and you look, and I'm going to erase all this so we can look at it, there were Republicans, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Democrats, and Independents. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So there were 6 times. The denominator is the total number of times voters are critical in the winning coalitions. That was 6 times. Your denominator will always be the total. If I go back and I look at, out of those 6, who are the, let's see, Republicans were critical twice, and Democrats here and here were also critical twice, and the independents here and here were also critical twice. And so on all of those, the numerator is twice. It says the number of times the voter is critical in winning coalitions. The voter. That's the difference. This one is the voter, and this is voters, period, all of them together. And since R and D and I were the same, they were all 2, 2 over 6 would reduce down to 1/3. So 1/3 of the time, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents were in power. That's how much power they have. And in my brain, it makes more sense when I think of it in terms of a percentage. That means they're each 33.33% in power. They all have equal power in this thing. Okay, so what's next? Another example, you got a law firm. It has 2 senior partners, Crooks and Cheatham, not to be confused with that other law firm that's known as Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Bump. And then they have 4 associates, W, X, Y, and Z. That was a joke. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, you know, Dewey, like last name is Dewey, last name is Cheatham, and Howe, but Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Sorry. Okay. To change any major policy of the firm, Crooks and Cheatham and at least two associates must vote for the change. Calculate the bonds-off power index for each member of this firm. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I know that Crooks and Cheatham, and then either W and X, or W and Y, or W and Z, or X and Y, or X and Z, or Y and Z. And this is the same, K and C, 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 because K and C have to be in all of them. Anyway, I think they show it in a table here. Yes. We use K, C, W, X, Y, and Z to represent the firm, and since every winning coalition includes K and C and any other 2 associates, we only need to determine the subsets of the W, X, Y, and Z with 2 or more members to determine the winning coalitions. So here's what I just wrote down a minute ago: WX, WY, WZ, XY, XZ, YZ. We've done this before back in chapter 2. And then you go and do your triples, and it's WXY, WXZ, WYZ, and then XYZ. And then you also have your group by itself. And so they make a table. Here it is. And they're showing K and C in everything. And then they show here's my doubles, here's my triples, and then here's the group by itself. That looks like a 3, sorry. There's the group by itself, K, C, W, X, Y, and Z. And they figure out all the critical members. So it has to have both K and C and then at least 2 associates. So when you're looking at all of these, they have to have all of those. So they're all critical. But then when you go down to the last 7 through 11, only K and C are critical because they both have to be there. But because you have more than 2 associates, any single one of the associates can leave and it would still be a winning coalition. So there were 11 times. If you go back and you count how many are in here, there's 34 letters. K and C are each 11, and then W, X, Y, and Z are each 6, whatever. It adds up to 34. And then you count, K and C are 11 out of the 34, and W, X, Y, and Z are 3 out of the 34. Each one individually. W shows up 3 times, so on and so forth. So I'm going to have to stop right here.